And we're set to go. This is a really fun topic for me, as it's developed over the course of years that this has come true. And it's just like in those great stories in the movies, or any sort of fairy tale, actually, you come across this kind of arc often. It's that if you try and do something because you like it, and if you meet people along the way, that you treat them well, you never know how that might come back around one day. And what seems like the face value of something probably isn't even how you might benefit from it. It'll come from your genuine love of whatever it is that you're doing. So to not like hide the point of this video at the end, the kind of hidden superpower to my channel, and it's become truer and truer over time. And it really is that old cliche, but it's true. It's the audience. And you would say, oh, you can throw that out. That's a platitude. You can give an example of that, and everybody would say that. But what really concretely does that mean? Do you have any evidence that you can confirm that this is true? And I do. That's the whole fun of this video, is it gets almost kind of spooky along the way. But then also mixed in with this is just the quality of people is really exciting and fun and interesting. So let's run into one of the first superpowers of my channel. I will also say to people, because very much the theme of this video is just how many people have helped me along the way in different ways, in unexpected ways, having met me through my channel. So if I miss somebody, I'm sorry about that, because I've been helped in ways that I know I'll have forgotten. But anyways, you know, in my heart, I'm grateful. Let's start with a really easy one, for example. The first time where I was like, oh, okay, well, maybe my YouTube channel, small though it may be, it's creating an interesting it's created a way through in my life for me. And this was really uncomplicated. I had worked for Interact, the kind of classic go to Japan, get set up, work for a dispatch company, have a pretty cushy life if you end up in a middle school. I really enjoyed my experience with the schools. The company was fine, but the schools were amazing, absolutely amazing. I still have pictures. I stayed there for 3 years at the one middle school and got to see them go from, having entered the school to graduating, and that was great. So I worked for Interact for three years, and at the end of it, I said to them, I've been saying to you, I came over here to Japan because I wanted to better my life, and now that I'm doing this, it seems like a cool route. Do you have any sort of upward options, managerial stuff, whatever? You're looking for a way through. And they didn't, so I thought, I gotta figure something out. And if I can't get a job here that isn't any better than I have, I'm spinning my wheels somewhat. And I suppose I could look back to Canada and try and figure out something there. And after all of these applications and not getting any traction, I was preparing for that reality. And then I got a message, I believe in my Instagram, and it was from a subscriber. And he said, Dave, I watch your videos. I was seeing you're having a little bit of trouble there, getting into a new job. And just to let you know, they're hiring at our Board of Education, and I could put in the good word for you. And to think that someone would risk their reputation on believing who I had seemed like in my videos. That's a pretty big risk, because who that person may be. It could be something else entirely, but they took that risk on me, and it was amazing. So I got there, and we kind of kept that on the down low. I met him for the first time in person when I got there, so that was another weird thing. And the people in the in that building at the time, they're like, oh, you're Jonathan's friend. Oh, good to see you. I was like, yes, old friends, exactly. So that was one time where I was like, wow, I almost would have left Japan if not for this wonderful person who now I consider a great friend, and we play weekly D&D sessions still. Well, I am here in Thailand and my friends are over there in Japan. We still play together. And so it was something like that where I thought, wow, what a superpower. You could have many more subscribers than I would, but would you have somebody who might be able to save your job, keep you in the country? That seems more significant than the greater views. which allowed me to continue to stay. So that was amazing. Another great experience, just in the vein of, this is a little more pure, like, this is fun. It could have become something bigger, but maybe I would have had to dedicate more time to it, was when I was first in Japan and I was in the middle school. You do have a lot of time. I planned lessons and I studied Japanese too. So I was being proactive. I didn't want to be one of these guys who just like is annoying to the teachers because they're so inactive. But I also, with free time, I wrote a book too. So I also wrote a book, and when I finished that book, it's a novella, not a big book, but it's fine. I'm glad I did it. I was looking for somebody I was like, I need to get a cover on this thing. What am I gonna do? Not sure. And then I talked about it on my channel. Lo and behold, well, let me do this little setup for this, which is actually kind of funny. So there was this individual in my comments for probably had to be at least a year, and I'd taken note, as you do when you see someone who shows up frequently and is incessantly positive. You really like these kind of people. You're just like, that's good vibes. Thank you very much. They've obviously, liked a lot of your stuff, are contributing to other people finding your stuff. And I found their effusive kindness wonderful. So young, so vital, this individual. And then when I had announced that I was looking for, what am I going to do for this title? That individual reached out and said, oh, Dave, I have a marketing studio based out of LA. If you would like any help, I could have my team look at putting together some different concept art for you. You have to understand, until this point, I thought it was like a 15-year-old kid, because they were so genki. We'll use the Japanese, very genki and exuberant, and like I say, all the correspondence was so like lighthearted. I was like, to be young again. And Steve was like older than me, so that's really funny. They made a fantastic cover for it. I'm so grateful. I should write better books if I want to have any sort of significant success. That experience was amazing. That's not maybe one that you could say was like a big shift in your life, but it was really cool. I was like, that my community could take part, or somebody that I met as a result of this could take part in this other creative thing I'm doing, is great. So the next one is, great guy. His name's Chris. Well, other than that, we'll leave it all, anonymous for these wonderful people. Just the first name. So Chris has an incredible ability. He's originally from the UK, very determined individual. He's doing great now. He's killing it. He's got a great house. He's got the dog. He's got the 2 kids, the whole family in Japan. He's really settled down and created a great life for himself. Since he's been there, everybody has a different superpower. His is to familiarize himself with the taxation system of whatever country it is that he's in, which is not my strong suit. And so he really understands taxation and bureaucracy. And when I left Kyoto, coming up on whatever period of time it is now, I was in a situation where, oh no, I suddenly don't have work. What can I do? I have to consider another path in my life. And I get a hold of Chris. I'm not in the happiest time, but we'd always corresponded, and I was just saying, it's kind of rough. What do you think? You got any ideas? And he did. He had incredible ideas. He said, Dave, you could do hello work. You go to them. You can get unemployment insurance. You've been in the country long enough. You can probably get some sort of amount for a number of months that they're going to support you for. Try that out. I was like, wow. Never would have thought about that if not for Chris. Here's another guy. Nobody else is saying this to me. It's a friend that I've made because of the channel. Amazing. Now, I start to think around this same time, what am I going to do for work? Because I love making videos. Clearly, here I am in another one. But if it's not working out, or if I'm going to continue working on it and it's not paying the bills, what are you going to do next to make sure that the bills get paid? And teaching, again, although a noble profession, I do respect it, and I know guys doing like great money and stuff in Japan. You can like find private schools, universities, all kinds of stuff, but not something. I'd done it for so long. I wanted to try something different. So I go off And I was like, I'm going to try out this, I'm going to try out the software development boot camp kind of thing. I wonder if I could do this intelligently. Maybe there's something else that I might know. Oh, I remember this really supportive subscriber I had. His name was Lawrence. He's like a story unto himself. He's had like massive success. His star continues to rise. I wish him all the best. I get in a conversation with him, and he says, Dave, didn't you know that these boot camps in Tokyo, if you apply to those, they'll reimburse you for the cost? And I was like, wow, okay, how much? You get back like 50%. You're saying I can get half my tuition covered if I do this? Again, this is another person that I know at a crossroads in my life that it was because of the channel that I knew them and had any kind of correspondence that gave me incredible direction for what I would do next. I was like, wow, that's like the most amazing thing. I'm stoked. Wow. Right? You're shocked by this every time too. You're just like, oh man. It also, as I say, this keeps affirming this thought that, yeah, make it because you love it. Have real connection with people then when you meet them, because you'll be able to actually genuinely talk about what it is that you've made and what their interest might be. It's not a front. And then human connection. Wow, isn't it ever powerful what it can do? So I get into the boot camp. And well, it just so happens that the work compatriot that I have now that, has done great work. He might tune in here. Don't get ahead of yourself, though. We're not done yet. He's done great work. That was another connection where I'm sure, we had interesting conversations and were like-minded individuals, I think, in a lot of regards. So we probably would have, been able to hit it off. But there was another example where, we had a bit of common ground. You saw this? Oh, you like that? Oh, what do you think of this? Very, very cool. Now, there's more of these, but one that it has to be said. It has to be said. So when I was making the YouTube videos, the YouTubes, or still am, that's what this is, when I was making them back in Japan, I will say, as a matter of truth rather than complaint, one of the things that I found difficult while I was making videos there was finding people to collaborate with. And you don't have to be bitter about it, but it is a reality. You reach out to many, many, many people, and you don't get a lot of people to work with. And so it's unfulfilling for an artist who wants to create a network and work on these different things. Now, I did some cool stuff. I did, absolutely. There were guys when they were still doing their channel, Yummy Japan. We went to Yanaka Ginza Shotengai, and that is one of my favorite videos. It did awesome. I did other collaborations with some really sweet people. Dustin from Solo Travel Blog, the first person I ever collaborated with. But generally speaking, it was difficult to find people to collaborate with. I just want to say that there is a balance in the force, and it's fine. You overcome that problem in different ways. But I was at one point approached by a graphic artist who said, hey, it looks like you're doing cool stuff. Maybe we could work on something together. This very entrepreneurial soul, he's got the right idea, I think, that if you can make things with your own two hands and you've got this new leverage available to people through technology, let's all work together. The power of collaboration. So we met as a result of him seeing my channel, and it wasn't somebody I was reaching out to collaborate with, but it was crazy that I actually just had somebody who wanted to collaborate from seeing my stuff. I was like, that's awesome. Caden's gone on to do banners for me, video intros, shirt art, you name it. The guy's done so much, all for free. I think at one point when I made some merchandise, which I never was able to sell, I was able to send him a few products, and he graciously accepted. I feel sorry for him. I just, but what we had was a great relationship, because we're like, screw it, we're trying our best. That's all this ever is. You do your best, and we have a good relationship. And now, at the turning of the tide, when I find myself in this totally random point in my life that I'm now building something I believe could work out, it just needs the love and attention of some people who are really capable, able to build it. I saw a great, quote or whatever from that guy, Simon Sinek, that was saying that a manager is not responsible for the results. A manager is responsible for the people who get you the results. I was like, yeah, that's a good idea. I still do stuff, but that's probably more. I'm like, make sure those needs are taken care of, and then these rock stars that are really good at stuff, at the things that, bring the nuts and bolts together when you're looking at it, they'll excel. I hadn't spoke to Caden in a while, coming out to Thailand, the stuff I was doing in Kyoto, we hadn't worked together. But I got here and I was like, I should get a hold of Caden again. Maybe he'd be interested in this project. And to be frank, the project could not be what it is without Caden at this point. The guy has put too much into it. And if this project succeeds, it will be because of these guys doing incredible work that I have, as much as I can, just made easier for them to do. That's the thing. I think if you're leading a project, you're like, you good? You got everything you need, more. Give them more. But provided you've done that, and then whatever other tasks that you might have, then you're going to be in great shape. And it's incredible. So this is circling back around to the fact that I'm able to do this now, and I believe very firmly that it's being improved in a way that's almost indescribable because of that past relationship. And to think that something so seemingly unrelated when you first start doing it, I'm going to talk to you about what my cost of living is at Leo Palace, could lead to one day the relationship that was going to help me, put the angel on the top of the tree for you designing your passion of your life. It's incredible. And the channel was always worth it. I always loved doing it, but it is important to take that reflection from time to time just to see how deeply it affected my life. And maybe that could also be, not that anyone, like I always joke, the 300 people who watch this, not that anybody's an aspiring YouTuber, but I do think that if you wanted to have a conversation about healthy YouTube, healthy media, that this is kind of the secret sauce that you get into it if you don't want to lose your mind about it. Do not, whatever you do, make it about analytics and massive monetary success. Otherwise, you'll go crazy. And if you make it instead about these relationships that you could find while working on this thing that you're passionate about, you have no idea how that could be interwoven into the rest of your life in a really cool way. So that's it. Yeah, it struck me the other day just as I was like, oh man, I'm so grateful to have met so-and-so. Oh, I'm so grateful to have. How many people have I met now that have directly helped this course that I find myself at in this exact moment? The final one. Here it is. The bonus person I'll talk about at the end here. He immediately responded to. It was awesome. I have this idea that one of the things I'm going to start again is doing the podcast, because clearly I don't talk enough. What the world needs is more of me talking, right? So I'm going to make the podcast. And when I thought about that, I was like, where I left off? An interesting conversation that I had was again with a subscriber who had reached out, Willem, and he's this cool game level designer. He's done a bunch of interesting projects, and I was thinking about, it would be cool to start this up again, because I should hype as any which way I can, the project we're going to work on and when we officially release it, and I should start building the fire. But I was like, I left off on the podcast where, bless his heart, Willem said, because of his connections within the game industry, there might be a few people that could come on who had done some really interesting stuff in that regard. And I was like, our whole thing is Dungeons and Dragons. How many of these people am I going to be able to get onto the podcast and just be like, let's talk about Dungeons and Dragons. Isn't this sweet? And then perhaps another way to reach out and be found by the audience that we're hoping to connect with. So once again, another relationship that has this profound impact on what we're doing in this exact moment that came from years and years ago. It's cool. It's really cool to see. I can't wait to see what happens next. It is no exaggeration that these next weeks are huge. The light has changed so much since the beginning of the video. I wonder if you noticed that. It's dramatic, kind of relaxing, maybe. All right, that's it. Don't do anything they tell you to do at the end of YouTube videos.